Yo, 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 what up, theme park enthusiasts? It's your boy, Turbo Reviewer here, back at it again. So today, we're going to be reviewing the top 10 shows at Walt Disney World in Florida, world only. So, I have a different criteria for shows than I do for rides. For rides, it's more about, the physical thrill and all of that, the adrenaline rush, if it's like a roller coaster or something like that. If it's a thrill, oh wow, geez, I guess different categories of attractions have different criteria too. So with thrill rides, it's more that, or if it's like a really good, if it's really immersive. I mean, obviously, when we're dealing with theme parks, immersivity is that a word? I don't know. I'm sure there's a word I'm looking for, but the more immersive it is, the better. That's really the key. And so with shows, it's the same thing. It's about how immersive it is, but that I grade in a different way. It's about, shows are more. Oh, sorry about that. I just got recognized there. No, I did. Anyway, what is it? Show immersive. Yeah. So with shows, it's more of like a sensory thing. So obviously, it's not like a thrill ride or anything. So it's not much of a physical sensation if you're just like sitting in a seat or something. So it's about like how does it make you feel? What emotions does it evoke? How emotionally powerful is it? How like what's the sensory feel to it? Because you don't want to just feel like you're watching a movie, because that's one thing. You can watch a movie at home. You don't need to go to a theme park to do that. But in terms of like, what it can do, like how many different things can combine. Like the number one thing on this list, for example, combines so many different things. It's ridiculous. But we're gonna have a look at that. This is way too long of an intro. So this is spanning across all four parks. My last theme park video like this was top 10 rides, so it's only for every 2 shows. So, here we go. Number 10, I'm giving to Walt Disney One Man's Dream at Hollywood Studios. This is a great show. Oh, by the way, each of these I've talked individually about on my top 10 attractions at, each park videos, so none of these are going to be new ones that I haven't talked about already, so I'll try to keep it brief. So if you want my full thoughts on any of these, watch my original theme park attractions list videos. Anyway, but yeah, Walt Disney One Man's Dream. It's a good show. I mean, you get the okay. So let's start off. It's been a while. I'm trying to go back to it. So so when you walk in, you have this whole like basically museum of Disney stuff. So you go through the whole, lifetime and all that. It's literally a museum type thing. I think that's cool. So the shows are continuous. There's a show every 15, 20 minutes, something like that. They do other things in that building. The building's called Walt Disney Presents. So it's sort of like featuring Walt Disney One Man's Dream, which was the original show. And then now they also do see the first 10 minutes of the new Disney movie now in theaters, or like this or that. They might do some other stuff. I think there's some character meet and greets or something in there. I've never done any of that. I've just seen the show that they've had in there for a long time. But yeah, so the shows run pretty continuously. So no matter when you walk in, you'll always have something to do. Especially if it's your first time there, until the show starts, you can sort of walk around, take a little self-guided tour. There's little things to read. It's just straight up museum style. And so then, when you finally go in, they had the announcers stand up, please step away from the yellow line, doors opening, all that kind of stuff. And so then, you go in. It's not that big of a theater. It's maybe how many seats? I don't know, 100 seats. It sounds like a lot, but I don't know. It's like really about 100 seats. And so, they put you in the theater, and it's. Due to the nature of the show, it's just like a sentimental thing or whatever. There's not too much it's not like a Finding Nemo the musical kind of thing. There's no like puppets or, things from the back of the room or anything like that. You're basically just watching a movie, but it's okay because it works. It fits in. But I like it. It's it's very well done. It's Disney quality for sure. It's it evokes emotion. It's the true story of Walt Disney, so, who doesn't like that? But, it's like, 10, 15 minutes. I talk about it in greater detail in my top 10 attractions at Hollywood Studios video, so, but yeah, just to give you a refresher, I think that makes number 10. All right, so number 9 on our list, we're staying at Hollywood Studios for this one. We're going with Muppet Vision 3D. I just like this show. I think it's a good example of like a Disney sort of comedy thing done right. Sure, it's generic, it's formulaic, but it's self-aware. That's what makes it. It's what makes it good. Is because it's exactly what you expect to happen. So this is another continuous running one. This one closes a few hours. Well, actually, Walt Disney Presents also closes like 3 hours before the park. So Muppet Vision 3D does as well. So if you want to get these in, make sure you don't put it off too long. Try to get them done, earlier in the day. And also, it's usually like at least 300 days of the year. It's very, very hot in Florida. So you're gonna want to get some relief from the sun in the air conditioning. So Muppet Vision 3D is it's continuously running. The lobby, they don't have as much to look at except that they have a pre-show. I really like the pre-show. I think it's like it's up there with the show. It's not as good, but it's a pretty good pre-show. As far as pre-shows go, I should make a list of that. Top 10 attraction pre-shows. Yeah, that actually, I might do that. But so it's Muppet Vision 3D. It's themed after the Muppets. It's great. It's like they actually brought the writing staff in there to do it. You feel like you're watching a Muppets movie, or like you're a part of it rather. The characters are talking to you. It's this whole thing. And so you go into the theater. Then there's another timer. Until the theater doors open, you get in there. This one's a bigger one. It's maybe like 200 seats, 250 seats, something like that. And this utilizes some other thing. Most of the stuff happens on the screen. By the way, the 3D is really good. Most of the stuff that happens on the screen, but there are a few parts, where there's something in the back. There's an animatronic. There's a guy in a costume that comes out at one point. So some things like fly off the screen, and then like the walls, have something. So there's a little bit of interactivity in that point. But it's great. The comedy, the humor lands. There's a few good jokes. Oh, you also have the two, whatever the guys' names are, the old guys, the hecklers up in the stage there that occasionally make some comments and interact with the characters. But it's pretty good. I talk about it, like I said, in greater depth in my Hollywood Studios thing. So go check that out. All right, going into number 8 now. We're gonna go with Animal Kingdom to Festival of the Lion King. So this is a great show. It's like a miniature Cirque du Soleil or something like that. Not that I've ever been to that, but I think it's something along those lines. But it's a live musical demonstration thing, but there's a lot more to it. It's interactive. They take people from like the front row and stuff, and they have to like parade around. Oh, this is the elephant section. This is the giraffe section. Whatever. So, this one, the shows are like every hour on the hour, I think, until like 6 o'clock or something. I don't know why they end early. It's an indoor show. There's no actual animals or whatever. But, the show's about a half hour. There's not really anything to do before this one. There's not a pre-show. There's not much to look at. So there's not really a point getting there early. But don't get there late. They will not let you in if you're late. So you got to get there, like 5 minutes early, probably, I would say. You don't have to be like a half hour early or anything like that, but just don't be late. So, so you get in the building, and, this one's a larger auditorium. It seats probably 1,000 people. So it's a Festival of the Lion King. So it's a whole, like, they got all the songs from the Lion King and everything, and it's like it's a presentation of it. So I'm not sure if there's live singing or not, but it's more like a choreography kind of thing. So it's like a stunt show basically. They got the trapeze thing, they got the fire jugglers, they got the there's like a series of things. It's like an ice skating show, basically. But obviously, it's not ice skating. But you know, it's good. It's a lot of stunt things, and you know, it's a whole. It's very high energy, so that's a good thing. I talk about this more in my Animal Kingdom list, so you know, you don't need to dwell into too much detail here. But yeah, Festival of Lion King, definitely check it out. All right, number 7, we're giving to. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and give number 7 to the. Number 7 goes to the Monsters Inc. laugh floor. This show it's great. I love the comedy here. It's basically, you know, like an improv comedy group, like a touring troupe or something like that. You know, it's cool. You get in there. There's a whole pre-show and everything, and they're continuous shows. They go till like 2 hours before park closing or something like that. And so you know you get in, and you know. The little things that look like lights in the seats, they're actually cameras. So everybody's on camera. They can see everybody. So, you know, they have like different voice actors and stuff like that. There's very minimal animation on the screen that they have to follow. So for the most part, it's just improv. So every show is vastly different. They do a lot of the same kinds of things, but you know, they have a segment where they read jokes that people send them. You know, so that's a real hoot if yours get picked or something like that. So, you know, but you know they got it's basically an involuntary audience participation thing. It's not the kind of thing that you know they say, oh, why don't you come on up here, you know, get on the stage and introduce yourself. It's not that kind of thing. You stay in your seat, but you know they'll put like pictures of random people on the screen from the audience. You know, because they secretly have the cameras on, so you know they'll put you up on the big screen. Oh, what? Oh, that's me. And so you know it's like an interactive thing basically, and it sounds cheap, and it kind of is, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny. I like it. But yeah, that's the laugh floor. I go into more detail about it in my Magic Kingdom list. All right, number 6, staying in Magic Kingdom, staying in Tomorrowland, is the Carousel of Progress. I love this show. It has a rich family history for me. You know, it's a must. You got to see it every time you go to Magic Kingdom. It's a really cool show. You know, journey through the 20th century. It's become quite the thing in our household. You know, there's been quite a few there's quite a few references made to that show on the regular. But you know, so it's like a carousel. You know, you go in the lobby and everything, and you know you got the it's a spinning. It's a carousel of progress. So you know it's spinning auditorium, and it spins like every 5 minutes, I think, and it like lets people in or something. I don't know, but it's like a 20-minute show. And there's 4 like scenes, different stages. You know, you got the turn of the century, beginning of the 20th century. You got the 1920s, the 40s, and then you got like the future of like 1975 or something. And you know, so that's kind of it's odd. And they all go to different holidays. You got like I think Valentine's Day is one of them. 4th of July. There's not a Halloween one, is there? The last one's Christmas. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit rusty on it, but you know, memorized quite a bit of the dialogue from it. It's a great show. The characters have depth. That's one thing I really appreciated about it. They're not just one-dimensional surface level characters. Like it's not solely focused on, you know, oh, look at how much different this one is than the last scene. Look at the improvement in technology and all that. I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it, but it's not the whole thing. There's also like character-driven stuff and, you know, side stories going on and a bunch of other things. So, you know, there's a lot of more detail, attention to detail in these fictional characters here than like, you know, I'd say any other show in Disney World. So, you know, that's it's definitely something I think is overlooked but is appreciated. And is on the brink of being gotten rid of. I think they demoted it to like seasonal or something, but it's a great show. I hope they never get rid of it. But yeah, so I love Carousel of Progress. I go into more detail about it, I think. I'm trying to think if there's anything I didn't mention in that one. I don't really remember. I didn't, like, just binge watch my own videos. So, but yeah, so that's number 6. All right, we're getting into the top 5 now. We're getting serious. Number 5, I'm giving to the Disney and Pixar Short Film Festival in Epcot. Holy crap, this is a good show. It's very emotional. This whole thing, you go to, I like, the pre-show, they have like the whole like behind-the-scenes style kind of thing, and they open the door to the theater, the auditorium, the whatever you want to call it. They show you 3 short films. The first one's always the same. The other 2 rotate like once a year or something like that. And they're like 6 minutes each, so it's like an 18-minute thing, plus the speech at the beginning, so it's maybe like 20 minutes total. And it's great. It's a phenomenal show. Very, very high quality. The animation is beyond superb. It's a 10 out of 10 for sure. As far as the animation goes, like the 3D is just, like, especially the first one. All the like the tricks they do and everything. It's jaw dropping. And then like the things they do, like with the AC and with the little and the noises, the soundtrack. There's a lot of intricacies. You'd have to actually see the show with me and have me point out things as they go along. But it's the kind of show that you don't want to talk during. You don't want to have your phone out and record because it takes away from you. You just want to be there and enjoy it. It's very immersive. By the time it's over and the lights come back on, you've had a powerful journey. You've had quite the experience. You're not the same as you were 20 minutes earlier. You look, wow, that at least quite a lasting impact, and that's really what I look for in a show. But these top 4, they sure do that as well. Especially the top 2. But yeah, let's get into it. Number 4, I'm giving to Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, Rest in Peace. I am not... They replaced it with, I think, like Epcot Forever or something like that. I haven't been there since then. The last time I was there was either late August or early September. So that, the American Adventure was still there. The, Epcot, or well, obviously Epcot's still there, but Illuminations is still there. I think it was August, I think. Yeah. So, but, so yeah, Illuminations is great. It's a fireworks show. I love fireworks. They got an epic soundtrack and everything, and they got the whole globe. It's a very expensive show for them to put on, so I appreciate that. They go all around the world showcase. They have these hidden lights you didn't even know were there. They got lasers. They got a whole bunch of stuff. The only thing I think they're missing is water stunts. There's like if they had like a full-on fountain show, like they got like this water splashing around and going everywhere, or some kind of animatronic, like you have a giant, animatronic Mickey Mouse like splashing water in people's faces and stuff like that. I think that'd be cool. But I understand, So as far as theming goes, this, I guess, like in the announcement, like, come celebrate, world unity, and, everybody together in one place here, like, I mean, I get it, it's sweet, whatever, but, I'm there for the fireworks for the most part. I like, explosions, I like, I'm a normal person, I like explosions and action, all that kind of stuff, so, fireworks, lasers, water, globes, lights, everything. It gets a thumbs up from me. I really like the nighttime shows. Those are probably they are my favorite type of shows, are the outdoor nighttime shows. So Illuminations does that pretty well. Better than, say, like Rivers of Light, for example, which is not on the list, and it's, spoiler alert, it's not even on the honorable mentions, because I don't really... It's not that impressive. It doesn't really stand. There's no fireworks. I understand it's Animal Kingdom, so they can't use fireworks or whatever. Well, what's a blasted nighttime show without fireworks? That's the whole reason for having an outdoor nighttime show, is so that you can have fireworks. If you're not going to have that, why bother? But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So Illumination is very good. Also, another important thing to note: there's a fake out ending. You think it's over, and then like a minute later, there's more. But then the second time, it's actually over. So keep that in mind if you haven't seen it too often. Of course, again, Illuminations doesn't exist anymore. I forgot about that. So I don't know if this new show still has that. I haven't seen it yet. Speaking of things that don't exist anymore, our number 3 pick is The American Adventure. Also, rest in peace. This one is gone for good. It's replaced with a store, I think. So that's just... I mean, how can you do that? It's the centerpiece of the World Showcase. Like, do you imagine, like, Walt Disney must be flipping in his grave right now. Like, you can't get rid of The American Adventure at Epcot. Really? That's one of the star attractions of Epcot. Like, what, are they going to get rid of Spaceship Earth next? I mean, it's the centerpiece of the World Showcase. It's the grandest attraction of all in the whole World Showcase. And, like, that was, like, you can't, like, getting rid of that's like getting rid of the Walt Disney World Railroad or the monorail or something. It's one of, like, the top 5 staple attractions of all of Disney World, So I think that's a really low move. I don't approve of that decision at all, and especially to replace it with with a store. If you were replacing it with another show at least, or something, or a ride, or like a walkthrough attraction, if you were replacing it with anything else, any other attraction, I would still be disappointed, but I would be a little bit more accepting of it. But to replace it with a store, all right, you know what? I've ranted enough about this. I think you get the gist of it. But the point is, it is just it's beyond a great show. Like, I can't even think of a word for the quality of this show. And I have memorized, as well as my brother apparently has memorized, the entire script of the show. Great dialogue, great character depth. This might be another one where it rivals the Carousel of Progress. I still think Carousel of Progress is a little more depth to the characters because you're following them, the whole way through. But, this one is, I mean, it's based on a true story, but they do get pretty creative with it, pretty imaginative. It's not all on the screen either. You have, like, floats that pop up from the floor and little things with, animatronics and stuff like that, and, they move around a little bit on the stage. You've got, like, the curtains that open up in the finale and everything, and the lights, the stars, things, and all that. And, of course, a killer soundtrack, and a completely original soundtrack. I like all the songs from that one. But it's a really powerful thing. You don't even have to be patriotic to enjoy it or anything like that. I mean, just enjoying it for artistic value alone, it is mind blowing. It is an absolute masterpiece, and I don't use that lightly. And it's a shame that people who haven't seen it can never see it again. But if you got there before, like, September 7th, I think, if you were there and you saw the show, then you know what I mean. It is, watching footage of it just doesn't have the same impact. It's not anything like being there in person and actually seeing it. It is just, wow. And, and it has positive memories associated with it, too, because there's always, the park would be open till 9 pretty much every day of the year. And so the last show is always 9 because it's every 45 minutes. And so the last show would be at 9 o'clock, so it'd be the last thing, that you could do instead of Illuminations. Because once you see Illuminations a few times, it's like, all right, I get it. So you go to the American Adventure, the 9 o'clock showing, and it's a long show. It goes till 9:35, 9:40, something like that. And then you're all the way in the back of the World Showcase, in the back of the park, and then you have that whole stroll out. So it's just a nice memory of, like, you really getting the bang for your buck there, really stretching it out and making an ordeal out of it and getting to the car at, like, 10:30, when the park closed at 9. I just like that kind of stuff, like, just sort of, like, taking it slow at the end of the night, just sort of, like, taking everything in. All the scenery, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feels of Epcot, So, but yeah, it holds a special place in my heart, so rest in peace, The American Adventure. It's just an absolute... I go into more detail about it in my Epcot list, but yeah. All right, number two, I'm giving, and again, these top two, this number two one comes really close to number one. It's almost a tie. It's almost like, Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror, which are basically a tie as far as I'm concerned, just depending on the day. I might put one above the other. But, the number one, I think, is a little bit better. So it's not quite a tie, but this number two pick, holy crap, it is not to be discounted. It is not to be, say, like, oh, well, it's not number one. I mean, this thing definitely could be number one. And if it wasn't for the number one pick, I wouldn't even think twice about it. I wouldn't even think something better than it would be possible if not for the number one pick. So our number two pick is the Happily Ever After fireworks display at Magic Kingdom. And for those of you who have never seen it, you might think, like, what, really? Really? It's that good? Yeah, it's that good. I'm sorry. I don't, it's just, I had the privilege of, like, seeing it the way you're actually supposed to, on Main Street, like, looking toward the castle. I got a pretty good view of it. We got there, like, 15 minutes before showtime. So that's not too excessive. It felt like a long time in the moment, but it was worth it. You want to get a good standing spot for this one. So you definitely want to see it from Main Street. The closer to the castle you get, the better. But yeah, it is... I mean, to put something above the American Adventure, you know that it's got to be the real deal. And as far as nighttime shows go, it knocks it out of the park. There's constant fireworks the entire time. There's a bunch of now, like, where I think the weak parts are like the the music, like the story kind of things. Like, I think that's a little cheap of a move for them to just be like, oh, let's just take the quote unquote best moments from Disney movies, like things that people quotes that people will know, and moments and things like that, and just put it into this compilation, and just have fireworks go off during parts of it. Like, okay, that's a little cheap, but the other parts more than make up for it. Like, just the fireworks alone, they're not just regular fireworks either. They have, like, the whole things they go to. The probably the best thing this thing's got going for it, though, is the castle projections. They have projectors onto the castle, and it just looks... I mean, you feel like you're inside Pixar, basically. You feel like you're inside of, like your whole world is an animated movie at that moment. You are an animated character at that point. It's such a powerful transformation. I just can't even find the words to describe it. But the castle projections is so detailed, intricate, and so like, it's more than 3-dimensional. It's like 5-dimensional. There's no glasses or anything like that. And combine that with the fireworks and everything. It's the whole, there's like and there's some other part, there's some live action segments to it too, and it's phenomenal. All right, we're getting into a time crunch here, so I want to mention our honorable mentions real quick. They are It's Tough to Be a Bug at Animal Kingdom. That kind of reminds me of like Shrek at Universal Studios, which Universal, coming soon. Universal lists coming soon, but as far as like the humor goes and everything like that, I think it's a fun show. It's good. It didn't quite make the list because these 10 are just that good. Or the top 10 are great, so this is good. It's good still, but it's just not great, to be on the list. But it's definitely worth seeing if you haven't seen it. Other honorable mentions: PhilharMagic at Magic Kingdom. That is great. I never used to care for it that much, but the last time I saw it, I actually thought it was better than I remember. So, the 3D's very good. It's a very good show. Let's see, there was one other honorable mention I had. The France show at Epcot, Reflections de France, I believe. Out of the three, the Canada, China, and that one, the France one's my favorite. You get to sit down. It's a very interesting approach, very artistic approach they take to it, and I really support that decision. All right, our number one pick should come as no surprise to anyone, but just give you a break there to pause the video. Fantasmic, all the way, definitely Fantasmic. Best theme park show, all right, I don't want to spoil it, but Oh, Phantasmic. Where do I even begin with this one? I got less than 2 minutes here to explain how I feel about it. I go into super detail on my Hollywood Studios list on this one. I go on for literally, I think, 10 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. But everything about the show, it's the ideal show, honestly. Like, if I were to make a show, that's what it would be. It would be Phantasmic. It's I'm speechless here. It's an outdoor nighttime show at Hollywood Studios. They got fireworks, they got live action things, they got music, they got waterfall projection screens.